I remember feeling nervous before my first job interview, especially because it was in English.
That feeling is very common, even for people with strong skills.
I worried that I would not understand the questions clearly.
Understanding questions is the first challenge in interviews.
I realized later that most interview questions follow simple patterns.
Yes, many questions are repeated across different jobs.
When I learned those patterns, my fear reduced a lot.
Preparation brings confidence.
One common question is about introducing yourself.
That question seems easy, but it can feel difficult under pressure.
I learned that a good introduction should be short and clear.
Clarity is more important than long answers.
I practiced talking about my background in simple English.
Simple language sounds confident and natural.
I focused on my experience and skills, not personal details.
Interviewers usually want professional information.
Another question that made me nervous was about strengths.
Talking about strengths can feel uncomfortable.
I learned to choose strengths related to the job.
Relevant strengths make answers stronger.
I avoided using very complex words.
Clear words are easier to understand.
I practiced saying my strengths with examples.
Examples help interviewers trust your answers.
Sometimes interviewers ask about weaknesses.
That question tests honesty and awareness.
I learned not to say something too negative.
Balance is important in that answer.
I talked about a weakness and how I am improving it.
Showing improvement shows growth.
English interviews also include questions about past experience.
Past experience shows how you handle situations.
I practiced describing my previous job tasks.
Practicing job-related vocabulary is helpful.
I noticed that interviewers often ask about teamwork.
Teamwork is important in most jobs.
I prepared a simple story about working with others.
Stories make answers memorable.
I learned to answer using past tense correctly.
Correct tense improves clarity.
Sometimes interviewers ask situational questions.
Those questions test problem-solving skills.
I practiced answers using calm and logical language.
Calm language sounds professional.
I realized that pauses are acceptable in interviews.
Pausing shows that you're thinking.
I stopped rushing my answers.
Slow and clear answers sound confident.
I also practiced common interview phrases.
Familiar phrases reduce stress.
Phrases like, "in my previous role," helped me start answers.
Starting phrases guide your response.
I learned to listen carefully before answering.
Listening avoids misunderstanding.
If I didn't understand a question, I learned to ask politely.
Asking for clarification is professional.
That reduced my fear of making mistakes.
Fear often blocks good communication.
I practiced interviews aloud, not just in my head.
Speaking aloud builds confidence.
I noticed improvement after each practice session.
Practice leads to progress.
I learned that interviews are conversations, not tests.
Thinking this way reduces pressure.
My English didn't need to be perfect.
Clear communication is enough.
I focused on being honest and calm.
Honesty builds trust.
Over time, interviews felt less stressful.
Familiarity reduces anxiety.
I realized that preparation changes everything.
Preparation creates confidence.
And slowly, English interviews became manageable for me.
That is the goal of good preparation.
After understanding the basics, I realized that interview success also depends on how clearly you explain your experience.
Clear explanations help interviewers follow your story.
I practiced describing my daily responsibilities in simple sentences.
Simple sentences sound confident and professional.
I learned to focus on actions rather than titles.
Actions show real skills.
When I talked about my previous job, I explained what I did and why it mattered.
Explaining impact strengthens answers.
I noticed that interviewers often ask about problem solving.
Problem solving shows how you think.
I prepared examples where I solved small workplace issues.
Even small examples can be powerful.
I practiced using calm language to explain challenges.
Calm language shows control.
I learned to avoid negative words when talking about past jobs.
Positive language sounds professional.
I focused on what I learned instead of what went wrong.
Learning shows growth.
I also prepared answers for questions about pressure.
Handling pressure is important in many roles.
I explained how I stay organized during busy times.
Organization shows responsibility.
I noticed that interviewers like examples with clear steps.
Clear steps make stories easy to understand.
I practiced structuring answers with a beginning, middle, and end.
Structure improves clarity.
I learned that eye contact and tone matter as much as words.
Nonverbal communication supports speech.
Speaking slowly helped me control my nerves.
Slow speech reduces mistakes.
I realized that confidence grows during the interview itself.
Confidence builds as you continue speaking.
I practiced answering questions about goals.
Goals show motivation.
I explained my goals honestly and realistically.
Realistic goals sound genuine.
I avoided memorized answers.
Natural responses sound better.
I noticed that interviewers appreciate clear reasons.
Reasons show intention.
When asked why I wanted the job, I focused on skills and growth.
That answer shows interest.
I practiced saying, "I am interested because," clearly.
Simple phrases guide your response.
I learned to manage silence in interviews.
Silence is not a problem.
Taking a short pause helped me think.
Thoughtful answers sound professional.
I stopped apologizing for my English.
Apologizing reduces confidence.
I focused on communicating clearly instead.
Clear communication matters most.
I noticed improvement in my responses.
Improvement builds self-belief.
Each interview felt easier than the last.
Experience reduces stress.
I realized that interviews are opportunities to share your story.
Sharing your story builds connection.
And with practice, English interviews became less intimidating.
Practice turns fear into familiarity.
As I gained more interview experience, I noticed that understanding the question fully was just as important as giving a good answer.
Misunderstanding a question can change the whole response.
I learned to listen for key words in each question.
Key words guide the direction of your answer.
Words like describe, explain, or give an example helped me know what to do.
Those words show what the interviewer expects.
I stopped answering too quickly.
Slowing down helps accuracy.
I realized that interviewers often rephrase similar questions.
Different wording can mean the same thing.
I practice recognizing similar questions with different language.
Recognition builds confidence.
I learned to ask for clarification politely when needed.
That shows professionalism.
Simple phrases like, "Could you please repeat the question?" helped me.
Polite requests reduce pressure.
I noticed that behavioral questions appeared often.
Behavioral questions show how you act in real situations.
I practiced answering those questions using real examples.
Real examples sound authentic.
I learned to focus on what I did personally.
Personal responsibility matters.
I avoided saying "we" too much.
I highlights your contribution.
I realized that interviewers want clear stories, not long explanations.
Short stories are easier to follow.
I practiced keeping answers focused.
Focus improves understanding.
I learned that confidence comes from preparation, not perfection.
Preparation reduces anxiety.
I practiced common job interview vocabulary.
Vocabulary improves expression.
Words like responsible, organized, and reliable became familiar.
Familiar words come easily under pressure.
I learned to describe my skills without exaggeration.
Honest answers build trust.
I noticed that interviewers appreciated calm energy.
Calm energy creates a positive impression.
I learned to manage nervous body language.
Body language supports spoken answers.
Sitting straight helped me feel confident.
Posture influences mindset.
I practiced smiling naturally.
A natural smile builds rapport.
I realized that interviews are also a chance to learn.
Interviews are two-way conversations.
I prepared simple questions to ask the interviewer.
Asking questions shows interest.
I learned to ask about team culture or daily tasks.
Those questions sound thoughtful.
I noticed that ending an interview confidently matters.
A strong ending leaves a good impression.
I practiced thanking the interviewer clearly.
Gratitude sounds professional.
I learned to express interest in the role politely.
Polite interest shows motivation.
I realized that every every interview improved my skills.
Experience builds competence.
Even unsuccessful interviews taught me something.
Learning comes from every attempt.
Over time, English interviews felt more natural.
Familiarity removes fear.
I understood that progress is built step by step.
Step-by-step growth leads to confidence.
And slowly, job interviews in English stopped feeling overwhelming.
That confidence is the result of preparation and practice.
With more practice, I started paying attention to how my answers sounded, not just what I was saying.
Sound and tone affect how messages are received.
I noticed that speaking in a steady voice made me feel more confident.
A steady voice creates trust.
I learned that it is okay to take a short pause before answering.
Pauses show that you're thinking carefully.
I stopped filling silence with unnecessary words.
Silence can be professional.
I realized that interviewers often look for clear communication, not fast speech.
Clear speech is easier to understand.
I practiced slowing down my pace.
Slower pace reduces mistakes.
I learned to organize my answers mentally before speaking.
Organization improves clarity.
I started using simple connectors like first, then, and finally.
Connectors help structure answers.
I noticed that structured answers felt easier to deliver.
Structure reduces pressure.
I also prepared for questions about conflict at work.
Conflict questions test communication skills.
I learned to explain how I stay calm during disagreements.
Calm responses sound mature.
I avoided blaming others when describing problems.
Responsibility shows professionalism.
I focused on how I worked towards solutions.
Solution-focused answers are strong.
I realized that interviewers often ask about time management.
Time management shows reliability.
I practiced explaining how I plan my day.
Planning reflects discipline.
I learned to describe priorities clearly.
Clear priorities show focus.
I noticed that confidence increased when I stayed honest.
Honesty builds credibility.
I stopped trying to sound perfect.
Natural language feels more real.
I learned that interviewers appreciate clear examples over impressive words.
Examples prove skills.
I practiced explaining achievements in a simple way.
Simplicity improves understanding.
I realized that nervousness is normal.
Accepting nerves reduces their impact.
I practiced breathing techniques before interviews.
Breathing helps calm the mind.
I practiced interviews in front of a mirror.
Visual practice builds awareness.
I noticed improvement in my posture and expression.
Body language supports confidence.
I learned that interviews test communication, not perfection.
Communication is the main goal.
I became more comfortable expressing uncertainty honestly.
Honest uncertainty sounds professional.
I learned to say, I am still learning, confidently.
That shows growth mindset.
I realized that every interview improved my English skills.
Real situations accelerate learning.
I felt less pressure with each experience.
Experience reduces fear.
I understood that preparation and calmness work together.
Together, they build confidence.
And gradually, interviews felt like conversations, not challenges.
That shift makes a big difference.
As I became more comfortable, I started focusing on how to explain my skills clearly in English.
Clear skill explanation helps interviewers see your value.
I learned that skills should be connected to real situations.
Real situations make skills believable.
When I talked about communication skills, I gave simple workplace examples.
Examples show how skills are used.
I practiced describing technical skills in easy language.
Simple language avoids confusion.
I realized that interviewers may not know every detail of my previous job.
Clear explanations help them understand quickly.
I learned to avoid long background stories.
Short and focused answers work better.
I noticed that confidence improved when I prepared answers aloud.
Speaking practice builds natural flow.
I practiced explaining my achievements without sounding proud.
Balanced tone sounds professional.
I focused on facts and results.
Results show impact.
I learned to use numbers when possible.
Numbers make achievements clearer.
I noticed that interviewers often ask about learning ability.
Learning ability shows adaptability.
I prepared examples where I learned new skills quickly.
Adaptability is valued in most jobs.
I learned to explain how I handle feedback.
Feedback handling shows maturity.
I explained that feedback helps me improve.
Growth mindset sounds positive.
I avoided getting defensive when talking about criticism.
Calm responses show professionalism.
I realized that interviewers want to know how I fit into the team.
Team fit matters a lot.
I practiced describing my working style.
Working style explains behavior.
I learned to explain how I communicate with coworkers.
Communication is key in teamwork.
I noticed that my answers improved when I stayed honest.
Honesty builds trust.
I stopped trying to guess what interviewers wanted to hear.
Natural answers feel more real.
I learned to handle questions about gaps or changes in my career.
Those questions test confidence.
I explained changes calmly and positively.
Positive framing improves perception.
I focused on what I learned during those periods.
Learning shows progress.
I noticed that my English sounded more confident when I slowed down.
Slower speech improves clarity.
I practiced pronunciation of common interview words.
Clear pronunciation reduces misunderstanding.
I learned that it is okay to ask for time to think.
Thinking time improves answers.
I used phrases like, "Let me think for a moment."
Polite phrases sound professional.
I realized that interviews are about problem solving and communication.
Both skills are essential.
I felt more in control during interviews.
Control reduces stress.
I noticed that my confidence grew with each experience.
Experience builds strength.
Interviews no longer felt unpredictable.
Preparation reduces uncertainty.
I understood that English interviews are skills that can be learned.
Skills improve with practice.
And slowly, I began to enjoy sharing my professional story.
Enjoyment reflects real confidence.
As I gained more experience, I began to understand how important it is to answer questions with clarity and purpose.
Purposeful answers show direction and confidence.
I noticed that interviewers often ask follow-up questions.
Follow-up questions test depth of understanding.
I learned to stay calm when those questions came.
Calmness allows clear thinking.
Instead of repeating myself, I added new details.
Adding value improves answers.
I practiced expanding my answers slightly without becoming long.
Balanced length keeps attention.
I realized that interviews are not about giving perfect answers.
They are about showing how you think.
I learned to explain my decision-making process.
Explaining thinking builds trust.
When asked about challenges, I focused on steps I took.
Steps show responsibility.
I avoided blaming circumstances or people.
Ownership reflects maturity.
I noticed that interviewers often ask about handling mistakes.
Mistake questions test honesty.
I prepared examples where I corrected my own mistakes.
Self-correction shows awareness.
I explained what I learned from those experiences.
Learning demonstrates growth.
I learned to describe pressure situations calmly.
Calm descriptions reduce concern.
I practiced explaining how I managed deadlines.
Deadline management shows discipline.
I realized that confidence improves when I understand my own story.
Knowing your story strengthens delivery.
I stopped memorizing answers word for word.
Natural speech sounds more authentic.
I learned to adapt my answers to different roles.
Adaptability increases relevance.
I practice adjusting examples based on the job.
Relevant examples improve impact.
I noticed that interviewers respond well to structured thinking.
Structure shows organization.
I used simple frameworks to organize answers.
Frameworks guide clarity.
I realized that body language continued to matter.
Nonverbal cues support communication.
I kept my posture relaxed but confident.
Balanced posture projects professionalism.
I learned to manage nervous habits.
Awareness reduces distractions.
I noticed that my tone became more steady.
Steady tone builds trust.
I learned that interviews also test cultural fit.
Cultural fit influences hiring decisions.
I prepared examples that showed teamwork and respect.
Respectful behavior is valued everywhere.
I realized that honesty remains the strongest strategy.
Honesty creates credibility.
I felt more prepared to handle unexpected questions.
Preparation improves flexibility.
Interviews felt more like discussions.
Discussions reduce pressure.
I noticed that my English flowed more naturally.
Natural flow reflects confidence.
Each interview helped sharpen my communication skills.
Practice refines ability.
And with time, interviews became opportunities, not obstacles.
That mindset leads to success.
As interviews became more familiar, I started paying attention to how I explained my motivation.
Motivation helps interviewers understand your goals.
I learned that saying, "I want this job," is not enough.
Employers want to know why.
I practiced explaining what interested me about the role.
Clear interest sounds genuine.
I connected my skills to the company's needs.
That connection shows preparation.
I realized that researching the company helped a lot.
Research builds strong answers.
I learned a few simple facts about the company before interviews.
Small details make a big difference.
I noticed that interviewers reacted positively when I mentioned company values.
Values show alignment.
I practiced explaining how my goals matched the role.
Matching goals show long-term thinking.
I learned to talk about salary questions carefully.
Salary questions require calm communication.
I avoided giving unclear or emotional answers.
Calm answers sound professional.
I prepared polite phrases for salary discussions.
Prepared phrases reduce stress.
I learned to say that I am open to discussion.
Flexibility is respected.
I noticed that interviewers often ask about future plans.
Future plans show ambition.
I explained my goals without sounding unrealistic.
Realistic goals sound mature.
I learned to balance confidence and humility.
Balance creates trust.
I noticed that my answers improved when I stayed calm.
Calmness supports clarity.
I practiced speaking about achievements in a simple way.
Simplicity improves understanding.
I avoided exaggerating my role.
Honesty builds credibility.
I realized that interviewers notice attitude quickly.
Attitude often matters more than words.
I focused on being respectful and positive.
Positivity creates a good impression.
I learned to respond politely even to difficult questions.
Politeness shows professionalism.
I noticed that listening carefully helped me answer better.
Listening guides strong responses.
I learned that interviews are about mutual understanding.
Both sides are learning.
I stopped seeing interviews as one-sided tests.
That mindset reduces pressure.
I became more confident expressing my ideas.
Confidence improves delivery.
I learned that English interviews improve with real experience.
Experience builds skill.
Each interview felt less stressful than the last.
Familiarity reduces fear.
I noticed steady improvement in my communication.
Steady progress builds trust in yourself.
Interviews began to feel like meaningful conversations.
Conversations create connection.
And with that shift, English interviews became much easier to handle.
That ease comes from preparation and practice.
As interviews became more familiar, I started paying attention to how I explained my motivation.
Motivation helps interviewers understand your goals.
I learned that saying, "I want this job," is not enough.
Employers want to know why.
I practiced explaining what interested me about the role.
Clear interest sounds genuine.
I connected my skills to the company's needs.
That connection shows preparation.
I realized that researching the company helped a lot.
Research builds strong answers.
I learned a few simple facts about the company before interviews.
Small details make a big difference.
I noticed that interviewers reacted positively when I mentioned company values.
Values show alignment.
I practiced explaining how my goals matched the role.
Matching goals show long-term thinking.
I learned to talk about salary questions carefully.
Salary questions require calm communication.
I avoided giving unclear or emotional answers.
Calm answers sound professional.
I prepared polite phrases for salary discussions.
Prepared phrases reduce stress.
I learned to say that I am open to discussion.
Flexibility is respected.
I noticed that interviewers often ask about future plans.
Future plans show ambition.
I explained my goals without sounding unrealistic.
Realistic goals sound mature.
I learned to balance confidence and humility.
Balance creates trust.
I noticed that my answers improved when I stayed calm.
Calmness supports clarity.
I practiced speaking about achievements in a simple way.
Simplicity improves understanding.
I avoided exaggerating my role.
Honesty builds credibility.
I realized that interviewers notice attitude quickly.
Attitude often matters more than words.
I focused on being respectful and positive.
Positivity creates a good impression.
I learned to respond politely even to difficult questions.
Politeness shows professionalism.
I noticed that listening carefully helped me answer better.
Listening guides strong responses.
I learned that interviews are about mutual understanding.
Both sides are learning.
I stopped seeing interviews as one-sided tests.
That mindset reduces pressure.
I became more confident expressing my ideas.
Confidence improves delivery.
I learned that English interviews improve with real experience.
Experience builds skill.
Each interview felt less stressful than the last.
Familiarity reduces fear.
I noticed steady improvement in my communication.
Steady progress builds trust in yourself.
Interviews began to feel like meaningful conversations.
Conversations create connection.
And with that shift, English interviews became much easier to handle. After many interviews, I started thinking about how important first impressions really are.
First impressions often set the tone for the whole conversation.
I learned that greeting the interviewer confidently helps me relax.
A calm greeting creates a positive start.
I practiced saying simple, clear sentences at the beginning.
Simple language sounds natural and professional.
I noticed that my posture and eye contact mattered a lot.
Body language speaks before words.
Sitting straight helped me feel more confident inside.
Confidence often begins with physical awareness.
I also learned to listen carefully instead of planning my next answer too early.
Listening fully improves understanding.
When I listened closely, my answers became more relevant.
Relevant answers feel thoughtful.
I stopped rushing my words and allowed small pauses.
Pauses make speech clearer.
I realized that it is okay to think before speaking.
Thinking shows seriousness.
I learned polite ways to ask for clarification.
Asking questions shows interest.
If I did not understand a question, I asked calmly.
Calm clarification avoids mistakes.
I noticed interviewers appreciated honesty more than perfect English.
Honesty builds trust quickly.
I stopped trying to use very difficult words.
Clear words are more powerful.
I focused on explaining ideas, not impressing with vocabulary.
Communication is about meaning.
I practiced answering common questions in different ways.
Variety prevents memorized answers.
That helped me sound more natural.
Natural speech feels authentic.
I also learned to manage nervousness better.
Managing nerves improves performance.
Taking a deep breath before answering helped a lot.
Breathing calms the mind.
I reminded myself that making small mistakes is normal.
Mistakes do not define ability.
That thought reduced my fear of speaking.
Reduced fear improves flow.
I noticed that interviewers focused more on my ideas than my accent.
Ideas carry the message.
This realization increased my confidence slowly.
Confidence grows step by step.
I began to enjoy expressing my experiences.
Enjoyment makes learning easier.
Interviews felt more like discussions than tests.
Discussions create comfort.
With this mindset, each new interview felt like another chance to grow.
Growth continues with every experience.
As I continued practicing, I started reflecting on how I answered behavioral questions.
Behavioral questions show how you act in real situations.
I learned that interviewers often want examples from daily work.
Examples make answers believable.
I began preparing simple stories from my past experiences.
Stories help interviewers remember you.
I focused on describing the situation clearly.
Clear situations set context.
Then I explained what action I took.
Actions show responsibility.
Finally, I shared the result honestly.
Results show learning.
I avoided making my stories too long.
Short stories keep attention.
I learned to stay focused on one main idea.
Focus improves clarity.
When I practiced these stories, my confidence improved.
Preparation reduces hesitation.
I also learned how to talk about challenges.
Challenges show problem-solving skills.
I stopped being afraid of discussing mistakes.
Mistakes show growth.
I explained what I learned instead of blaming others.
Learning matters more than excuses.
Interviewers seem to appreciate honest reflection.
Reflection shows maturity.
I noticed that teamwork questions appeared often.
Teamwork is essential in most roles.
I shared examples where I listened to others.
Listening shows respect.
I talked about how I supported my team.
Support builds collaboration.
I avoided saying, I did everything alone.
Team credit shows humility.
I learned to balance I and we in my answers.
Balance sounds professional.
I practiced explaining conflict calmly.
Calm explanations show control.
I explained how I solved disagreements peacefully.
Peaceful solutions build trust.
I realized interviewers look for emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence guides behavior.
I practiced staying calm while talking about stress.
Calm stories show stability.
This helped me sound more reliable.
Reliability is highly valued.
With these techniques, my behavioral answers became stronger.
Strong answers leave a lasting impression.
Each interview became another chance to communicate clearly.
Clear communication opens doors.
After improving my behavioral answers, I started focusing more on technical and skill-based questions.
Skill questions show what you can actually do.
I realized that clear explanations mattered more than complex details.
Clarity helps interviewers follow your thinking.
I practiced explaining my skills step by step.
Step-by-step answers feel organized.
I avoided using too much technical language.
Simple language works better in interviews.
When a question felt difficult, I stayed calm and broke it into parts.
Breaking questions reduces pressure.
I learned to admit when I did not know something.
Honest answers build trust.
Instead of guessing, I explained how I would find the answer.
Problem-solving thinking matters.
Interviewers seemed to appreciate my approach.
Approach shows mindset.
I also practiced describing how I learn new skills.
Learning ability is important.
I talked about courses, practice, and feedback.
Continuous learning shows motivation.
I realized that asking thoughtful questions is also a skill.
Good questions show engagement.
I prepared questions about training and growth.
Growth questions show interest.
I avoided asking questions only about benefits.
Balance shows professionalism.
I learned to ask about daily responsibilities.
Daily tasks reveal job reality.
That helped me understand the role better.
Understanding reduces surprises.
I noticed interviewers became more open when I asked meaningful questions.
Openness builds connection.
I also learned to manage time during interviews.
Time management shows awareness.
I kept my answers clear and not too long.
Concise answers respect time.
When I noticed time was limited, I summarized my points.
Summaries show control.
I practiced ending my answers with confidence.
Strong endings leave impact.
Over time, technical questions felt less stressful.
Familiarity builds ease.
Interviews started feeling balanced and fair.
Balance creates confidence.
With every session, I felt more prepared and focused.
Preparation leads to success.
As I reached more interviews, I realized that personal presentation matters as much as answers.
Presentation shapes first impressions.
I started paying attention to my appearance and posture.
Professional appearance boosts confidence.
I practiced sitting straight and smiling naturally.
A natural smile makes a positive impression.
I noticed that my body language reinforced my verbal answers.
Consistent body language supports credibility.
I also focused on eye contact without staring.
Balanced eye contact builds trust.
I realized that gestures can help emphasize points.
Gestures add clarity when used naturally.
I avoided fidgeting, which can signal nervousness.
Calm movements communicate professionalism.
I learned to control my breathing to stay relaxed.
Controlled breathing helps manage nerves.
I also practiced maintaining a steady voice tone.
Steady tone enhances clarity and confidence.
I noticed that polite language creates a better impression.
Politeness reflects good character.
I used phrases like, "Thank you for the question," and "I appreciate the opportunity."
Such phrases show respect.
I realized that expressing gratitude leaves a lasting mark.
Gratitude demonstrates professionalism.
I also prepared small talk for the start of the interview.
Small talk builds rapport.
Asking simple questions about the company or interviewer helped ease tension.
Rapport creates comfort on both sides.
I learned to balance friendliness with professionalism.
Balance ensures respect and engagement.
I noticed that confidence grows when I feel prepared.
Preparation reduces anxiety naturally.
I practiced ending interviews gracefully with clear thanks.
Strong endings leave positive impressions.
I also learned to summarize my main points briefly at the end.
Summaries reinforce your message.
I noticed that interviewers notice consistency in answers and behavior.
Consistency shows reliability.
Each interview helped me refine my communication style.
Refinement improves performance.
Slowly, I felt that English interviews became less intimidating.
Comfort comes from experience and preparation.
And with each interview, I gained more confidence in expressing myself clearly and professionally.
Confidence is the ultimate key to success.
Finally, after many interviews, I realized that preparation, practice, and mindset make all the difference.
Mindset is as important as knowledge.
I learned to approach interviews as opportunities to share my story.
Sharing your story makes interviews meaningful.
I stopped fearing mistakes and focused on communicating clearly.
Clear communication outweighs perfection.
I noticed that confidence grows gradually with each experience.
Confidence is built step by step.
I practiced listening carefully, speaking calmly, and structuring my answers.
Structure, calmness, and attentiveness improve clarity.
I realized that even small improvements matter over time.
Small steps lead to long-term success.
I also understood that honesty, politeness, and positivity leave lasting impressions.
Character and attitude are highly valued.
I learned to ask thoughtful questions, showing my interest in the role.
Questions reflect engagement and preparation.
I focused on using simple, natural English instead of trying to sound perfect.
Natural English communicates confidence.
I noticed that practice interviews, feedback, and self-reflection greatly improved my performance.
Reflection accelerates learning.
Over time, interviews stopped feeling like tests and became conversations.
Conversations reduce anxiety and build connection.
I became more comfortable explaining my experience, achievements, and skills.
Comfort strengthens communication.
I realized that every interview is a chance to grow and improve.
Growth happens with consistent effort.
Today, I feel confident facing job interviews in English.
Confidence is the result of preparation, practice, and mindset.
And I know that every future interview will be easier because of what I've learned.
Each experience builds skill, confidence, and clarity.
Job interviews are no longer intimidating, they're opportunities to shine.
Opportunity comes to those who are prepared.
And with patience, practice, and persistence, English interviews become a manageable and rewarding experience.
Persistence turns learning into mastery.